Hi everyone! I am home early from school. It's a Friday afternoon. We actually got done at noon, a little before noon, and we normally are in class from like 8 or 9 until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I wasn't really sure what to do with myself. I probably should be studying or doing stuff that I need to do for next week. But it's a beautiful day out, and I've been wanting to do this tag. I saw a couple videos doing the autumn reading tag. So I thought, this is perfect. It's a beautiful autumn day, even though it feels more like spring or maybe even summer. It's like 75 degrees out, but a little bit of a breeze, so it's a little cooler. I'm in the shade. This is one of my favorite places to come out and read when it's nice, behind my tree. I love it out here. So anyway, let's get started with the tag. It was originally done by Amy Jane Smith. I will link her channel down below so you can check that out. And the first question: are there any books that you plan on reading over the autumn season? I actually just did a video with my Spookathon TBR, so I'm not going to go over those books again. I definitely want to try to read those, even if I don't finish them this week because it's going on this week. I'll probably continue to read them because they are all books that I want to read right now. Besides that, though, I'll talk about a few other books. The first one is Unholy Magic by Sasha Cain. You might have seen this in a previous video. I was reading this before Diversathon and before, I think, the Underhyped Books readathon as well. So I was almost about a third of the way through it, and I hate leaving books and not finishing them, and then I forget, and then I gotta start over. So I really need to get back to this book. The next book is A Feast of Crows. My paper flying up. I had to write down the questions. I wouldn't remember them. A Feast of Crows by George R.R. Martin. This is the fourth book in the series, I believe. It takes me a while to read these books. They're so freaking huge. And there's always so much going on that I tend to get a little overwhelmed, bored, because he sometimes drags stuff on, like 5 pages of a meal. And so I tend to put these books down and then pick up something else, and then I'll get back to this. I have not read this since the series ended over the summer, so I do want to get back to this before it gets so long and I'm forgetting stuff. And the next book is Secondhand Books by Juliet Blackwell? Yeah, Blackwell. This is a book that I had picked up at a used bookstore, or maybe I got it at one of my library book hauls where they sell books there. It's like a cozy little supernatural mystery, and I think that it's perfect for this time of year. I was really hoping to read this in the month of October specifically because it kind of fits with Halloween and what I like to read now. The next book is Watership Down by Richard Adams. I've had this book for a couple years. I've wanted to read it. I own the movie. I've seen the movie several times. The first time I saw it, I wasn't a little kid, but I was probably preteen. Love the movie. I've always wanted to read this book. I'm not quite sure why I keep putting it off. But I hear it talked about on BookTube every once in a while, and it kind of has made me more motivated to want to read this. So I think this might be a good one to read right now. The next one, I Am Malala. This is one that I had picked up for Diversathon and only just started it. So I definitely want to get back to this and read the whole thing. I'm really excited about reading this. Then we have Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I picked this up at my little library bookstore not that long ago. I've heard amazing things about it. I've only read one of her books. I can't remember the title, but I absolutely loved it, and I definitely want to read more of her stuff. And this is the one that everybody keeps telling me to read, so I'm gonna try to start this one soon. And lastly, I was kind of hoping to read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I've actually read this. I read this in high school. I've read it a couple times since. This is one that I like to reread every few years, and I give myself enough time to kind of forget things, because if you have not read this, I'm not going to give everything away. I can't get give anything away because I don't quite remember, but there is a plot twist in this. So, and it was brilliantly done. I love Agatha Christie. She is one of my favorite authors. Definitely my favorite mystery author. So it's about time that I picked this up again, and I kind of like reading mystery thrillers this time of year. So I am hoping to get this read as well. Those are the only books that I have definitely picked out. That could very well change. I don't know if I'll get them all done. I highly doubt I'll get them all done in the fall. Some might spill over into winter. Some I might just put off indefinitely and pick up something else. So, number 2. September brings back to school memories. What book did you most enjoy studying? And I actually have a copy of this as well. The Awakening by Kate Chopin. I read this either 11th or 12th grade English. I can't remember. I don't think anybody else in my class liked it. I know a lot of adults who have read this and just weren't fans of it. But I absolutely loved this book. I loved it in high school. I read it not that long ago, again, a couple years ago. And I have a totally different perspective reading it now, being an adult, being a mother. I think it's beautifully written. I think it's relatable. I mean, not completely relatable with if you've read it and you know the ending. I've never been at that point in my life, but definitely I understand as a mother, I don't want to say feeling trapped, because I don't think that's the right word. It sounds too negative, but your life changes when you have children, and you know, your priorities change, and you have to put them first, and you have to not always think of yourself, and it's difficult. It's a challenge, especially when you first become a mother, but even years and years later, because that's the way it always is. And I just think that's such a fascinating book, and I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite thing that I ever read in high school. And then the second part to that question, there's a bee. I don't like bees. I think he wants my wine. I have a little cup holder in my chair, and I put my wine glass in there. Maybe if I finish it, he'll leave me alone. Okay. The second part of that question is, what was your favorite and least favorite subjects in school? Favorite was always English. I loved reading. I loved writing. Even classics, anything. I also really enjoyed art. I liked most sciences. I did not like chemistry. So going to my least favorite subjects, chemistry was definitely one of my least favorite. And math was my other least favorite. I am not good at math. I'm not good at numbers. I think that's why I don't like chemistry so much. There's a lot of math and equations. My sweetie. My dog is enjoying the nice weather with me too. Okay. So October means Halloween. Do you enjoy scary books and films? And if so, what are some of your favorites? I definitely do. I don't read a lot of scary books. I actually want to read more scary books. So if you have any suggestions, leave those down below and I will check them out. But some of my favorites, I love Stephen King. I know everybody loves Stephen King, but there's a reason why he is as popular as he is. He is very, very good at what he does. The Stand and It are probably my two favorites from him. I love zombie novels. Those are one of my favorite type of horror novels. My favorite one is probably Dead of Night by Jonathan Marbury. That's a series, I believe. There's at least 2 books, because I picked up the second book and then couldn't get into it, or something else was going on and I didn't get very far. I want to pick that up again though. I want to finish reading those books. And then I like classics like Dracula, Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Silence of the Lamb books, Red Dragon. Those are good. As far as movies, I definitely watch more horror movies than I read horror books. My favorites, my absolute favorites, are the Halloween series. I love Michael Myers. I love all those movies. I have not seen the latest movie, or perhaps the last two movies that have come out. I like them. I don't like them as well as the originals. I love the original ones with Jamie Lee Curtis. Nightmare on Elm Street, I really like that series. The Evil Dead trilogy. That first movie, I still think, is probably the scariest movie that I have ever seen. I recently bought it. I found it at Walmart. I've been looking for it for a while because my husband, who loves scary movies, they're his favorite. He's never seen that trilogy, and I'm like, you have got to see those. Like, they are the best. So I found the first one and I picked it up, and maybe we'll try to watch it the next time he's home. Army of Darkness I also really like. It tends to get more camp and goofy, but I love that too. I love comedy horror movies. Zombieland is probably my favorite. Shaun of the Dead. I like a lot of older ones. Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist. I haven't seen the new one. Aliens, things like that. I don't tend to watch a lot of new horror. A lot of them are gory, I don't get into the whole torture porn. I don't get it. It's not that I can't handle it, I don't really get grossed out. I'm just I get bored with it. Like Saw, the first one I thought was an interesting idea, and then it just got to be like, okay, how many different ways can you kill and rip apart and slice up a person and torture them? I'm not into that. So with November, it's time for bonfire nights and fireworks. What is the most exciting book you've read that kept you gripped? Going back, I really think like The Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, I think that those were good. Kind of kept me on the edge of my seat. I really like Dean Koontz. I think some people call him horror. I don't think a lot of his books are really horror, but they're definitely thrillers. Like Intensity, Midnight, Darkfall. I believe Darkfall is the one that has like these little creatures, and that had one of the freakiest, intense scenes that I've ever read in a book. I need to reread that book. I haven't. I like to reread his books, but there's several that I haven't read in years, and I probably should. What book is your favorite cozy comfort read? That one's kind of hard. I don't think I read a lot of cozy books. The Stephanie Plum books by Janet Ivanovich. She writes kind of mysteries. They're not real hardcore serious. They're kind of silly, fun, easy, quick reads. I really enjoy the characters. I like Stephanie. I love her grandmother. They're books that you don't take very seriously. Like if I just want to escape and not think about anything, they're not going to have a profound effect on your life. They're not the type of books that you read and you think about for days after, like the meaning of life kind of books. But they're fun. If I just need a break, I kind of like to just sit down. I can read those in like 1 or 2 sittings. Curled up with a good book, what is your hot drink of choice? It probably depends on the time of day. If it's morning, maybe even early afternoon, coffee usually. I can drink coffee most of the day. If it's late at night and I don't want to be up all night, hot cocoa. Hot cocoa with a little bit of caramel syrup, splash of milk, and like some whipped cream. I love that. And the last question, any plans you looking forward to over the next few months? Honestly, not too much. I love Halloween. I love going trick-or-treating with my kids. I might go to a Halloween party or two. I enjoy Thanksgiving just because my whole family gets together. My husband's always home. I think I've mentioned it before in another video, but he's a truck driver. He's on the road a lot, but he's always home for Thanksgiving. My dad comes up. Sometimes we have other people up here. And it's just a fun time to spend with family, So I always enjoy that. just right now, just getting through school, getting through my first semester of nursing school, getting to that break in December. We're a little more than halfway through and I'm already thinking about my break. But it's been intense. I just kind of want to get through the next few months. So that is the autumn reading tag. That's what I plan on reading and what I'm doing the next couple months. Hopefully I actually have time to read some of these books. And I'm going to enjoy this afternoon before I have to pick up my kids. I actually think I'm going to grab a book and do a little reading out here. It's just too perfect out here. And I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.